Less than 6. So I was made superintendent in December. Actually, it was around my birthday. These things keep happening around my birthday, which is in December. A month later, I need to give you a quick weather lesson. I live in Minnesota. In January in Minnesota, we have a term for this. It's frickin' cold. But on January 18th of that year, we broke the world record for cold. It was the coldest January 18th in the history of Minnesota. I remember this so clearly because of a multitude of factors. The first was it was Martin Luther King's birthday, so school was not open that particular day. Secondly, it's my wedding anniversary. So my wife and I had gone to the movies. We came out from the movies and got in the car and turned on the radio, and the guy says, yeah, watch out for tonight. The wind chill, the actual temperature is going to be 34 below with a wind chill of 75 below in the morning. Okay. We're driving home, and I turned to my wife and I said, I wonder what superintendents do when it's this cold. See, like in the interview process, and they ask you all these questions about your philosophy of education, and all, nobody ever talks to you about it being cold. Nobody. Well, I got home and found out the answer. There were 54 messages waiting. And they were all essentially the same message. Hey, you nitwit, you wanted this job. Now you got it. You got to decide if school's open or closed tomorrow. And only an idiot would have the schools open. Well, I freaked, I panicked, I literally had no idea what to do. When I was a kid, it just seems to me like you went to school. This notion of open and closed, this is a foreign concept, but apparently not foreign in this day and age, and especially the coldest day of the year. So I called up the superintendent from St. Paul. So St. Paul is right next to Minneapolis. His name is Kerman Gaines, a terrific guy. He was an experienced superintendent. So I said, Kerman, what do we do? And he says, I don't know, Peter, but it better be the same thing. Okay, but how do we know what to do? He says, here's how it works. About 4 o'clock in the morning, our transportation directors are going to find out whether or not the buses will start at 34 below. These are diesel engines, and at that temperature, diesel fuel turns into muck. He says, they'll call us and tell us whether or not the buses can run, and if the buses can run, we have school, and if the buses can't run, we have to cancel school. I said, we have to wait till 4 o'clock in the morning to figure this out? It's cold. It's frickin' cold. He says, no, that's the process, right? This reasonable process. So we're waiting anxiously, and the governor of Minnesota, Arne Carlson, for the first time in the history of our state, closed every school. He said, it's just too cold. Can't risk life and limb. Whew. Dodge that bullet. I go into the office, which was its own bizarre thing, right? The schools are closed, but I figured the adults would work. No. No. I'm the only person in the school district headquarters. I walk into my office, and as I walk in, the phone is ringing. Hey, nitwit, governor bailed you out last night. Not going to happen 2 nights in a row. Only an idiot would have the schools open tomorrow. It's sort of a younger voice, by the way. Sort of a high school age. And it went on like that all morning. I mean, it's just relentless, these calls, one call after another, each one more passionate than the one before, each one certain that I was a lunatic or a demagogue or a dictator or an evildoer, and they're just pouring it on. And then at noon, I pick up the phone and I get this message. Hey, you nitwit. This is a female voice. Hey, you nitwit. Get these kids back in school. Only an idiot would not have the schools open tomorrow. And so it went. The whole rest of the day, open the schools, close the schools, open the schools, close the schools, fever pitch, people just beating on me, just clobbering me. And I'm getting smaller and smaller and more depressed and less sure of what to do. And I'm a sort of a guy that likes people to like me. And it seemed like nobody liked me. And there was no way out of this. And I had, in this terrible dark moment, I had this epiphany. When you are faced with one of these decisions where there's no right answer, doesn't matter what you do, because you're wrong. And once you get over being wrong, you get to do what you think is right. See, there are situations where you just can't split the difference, where you can't compromise. And in those situations, you gotta let go of being wrong so you can do what you think is right. Doesn't happen all the time, but it happens often enough. I knew what to do. I knew exactly what to do. There was no doubt in my mind. Because at 10:30 in the morning, I'd gotten one other call that I didn't tell you about. I got a call from the Deputy Chief of Police. He said, "Mr. Superintendent, I just wanted to make sure you knew that this morning, after the governor had closed every school in the state, our squads picked up 300 children that were waiting for buses that were never going to come. 300 children who didn't speak English, who were poor enough that they didn't have a television or a radio or read a newspaper. 300 children that thought school was the safest place for them. And I vowed this would never happen again. And while I was superintendent, the schools were never closed again. I told the bus guys, you figure it out.